You're listening to Bigfoot Society, and I'm Jeremiah Byron. Today's episode is a conversation with Jordan from the southeast corner of Massachusetts. This is an extremely interesting conversation that, as it goes along, becomes quite evident someone does not want it to happen. So please enjoy this conversation about what exactly is going on in the Plymouth area of Massachusetts, and thanks for listening. All right, Bigfoot Society, you've got the privilege of talking to Jordan today. Jordan's an individual from the Plymouth, Mass area or Massachusetts. He's also an Army veteran as well. Jordan, welcome to the show. Thank you for your service. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, no problem. And I'm doing great. Got out of work early. I planned for this, and I can't wait to talk to you for a bit.
It's very, very rare to have individuals from Massachusetts, New England on the show. I grew up in Western Mass, so I know it is a very tight-lipped state when it comes to things like this. But, you know, Jordan, I want to make sure that you have the time to share what you've come prepared to share today. So feel free to take the floor is yours, and you're welcome to take us back to when things started happening to you.
All right. Well, I worked at a trucking company a few years ago, over 5 years ago, and I one of the forklift operators I started hanging out with. He's older than me. He's like 55 now, and we had a big what do you call it? Hobby together of fishing. So we started talking about it and stuff, and he had a little, a bass buggy boat, something that just slides into the back of a pickup truck with the swivel seats. And we hadn't talked for a while. We hadn't hung out and stuff, and eventually just started fishing. And it wasn't until after I started my other job. So he goes, "Hey, have you ever fished down in Plymouth area?" I said, "No, not really." I said, I usually go to other ponds and stuff, walking distance stuff. I usually fish from shore. So he goes, "Well, you can go with me." I said, "All right." So we go out to the pond, and I don't know if I should mention where the pond is or not, but I'd never been there. It was in Plymouth. It was a really long dirt road to get down there, and if you go down the dirt road, comes to a fork. If you go left, there's, maybe 10 houses on that side of the lake. The right side of the lake, there's only 2 mansions down the very, very, very end, like another mile down. So it's very secluded. So he goes, "Okay, well, we'll go there, and I'll pick you up at 3 in the morning, and we'll get down there. We'll get set up, and we should be fishing, by 4 o'clock. And this was in August of 23. So, he told me there's a lot of smallmouth in there, and, there's big fish, and it should be a great time, clean water, blah, blah, blah. So he picks me up in his Toyota truck. He's got the boat in there, and we go down the dirt road, and it's a 1-lane road around this pond. So you got to offload the boat, and then you got to go park it, and there's a couple of little tiny parking spots cut out in the woods. So it's dark, it's pitch black, I got a headlamp on. He parks the truck, get the boat out, and pull it on the ground, and he's like, "I got to go park the truck." I said, "All right." So he pulls away, I watch him drive, and he's probably 100 feet away from me, and I can see the truck, and he pulls it into one of the spots. And I'm just standing there listening to the bugs, crickets, frogs, and I'm just looking in the water. The water's perfect. It's crystal clear. And a rock flew by my face, like probably the size of a golf ball. And I'm like, that was weird. And, I don't know what to think. So he's walking back towards me, and he's got his hands in his pocket. He parks the truck. I see the brake lights go off. I see everything go off. He's coming towards me. He's got his headlamp on. And he's got his hands in his pockets. And I said, "Did you throw a rock?" Like, I don't know why. Like, I shouldn't have asked him that, because how could he? But I'm like, "Did you throw a rock?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, you threw a rock at me or something." He goes, "Dude, whatever." No. And another one flew right in front of my face. So I'm shining my light around, and to my left is the pond, and to my right is just straight blueberry bushes, briars, just swamp, like with tree, you can't see through it. So he's like, dude, what was that? I said, he saw the second one. I said, I don't know, dude. He's like, well, let's get out of here. So we get in the boat, and as we're going out, you know, he's only got a little trolling motor on it, electric motor. The rocks are coming nonstop, and as we're moving, they're falling all around the bow of the boat. They never touch the boat. And the boat is it's a square boat. It's like a Pelican Gator or something like that. And all these rocks are just going around the front of the boat as we're moving. I'm getting wet. These rocks are hitting the water. I'm getting wet. We finally get out far enough, and it stops. And I'm like, what was that? I don't know. Then this weird rooster sound started. It sounded like somebody in a deep voice mimicking a rooster, and it didn't sound right at all. And I had a 5,000 lumen flashlight in my tackle bag. So I pull it out, and I'm shining it on the shore. And there's nothing there at all. Nothing. And as we're fishing and it's getting daylight out, there's no more rocks the rest of that day. But the rooster call sounded like it would be 100 feet from shore and then a mile away. And then 100 feet from shore, then a mile away. And it did it all the way until the sun started breaking through, really. And we fished the rest of the day, and it got really hot. And I don't think I even remember catching anything. And we get back to the truck, and we load the boat, and I'm like, what was up with those rocks? He's like, I don't know, dude. It's probably just some hobo or somebody around here. Maybe it's one of the people that live in the house. They don't want us around here. And we let it go. So a week or two goes by, and this is still August of 23. He calls me up. He goes, you want to go down there? I said, yeah, I'll go down there. And, I'm not worried about it's not my truck going down there. I mean, if you get rocks hitting your truck, I don't care, So we go back down there, and there was a big storm coming. And we shouldn't have went, but we did anyway. And we go out there, and we got there. This time it was in the afternoon, so we got there probably around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And we go out, we fish, catch a couple fish, nothing great, whatever. The sky goes black, like black, like the lightning, the rain. We're trying to get back across the pond, and the boat's actually like the boat actually had like 2 inches of water in it by the time we got back in. I mean, we shouldn't have been. That was stupid. So we get in. Now we're rushing. We're rushing to get the boat in the truck, strap it down, and as we're doing it, rocks are flying in again. And it always waits. Like, you got like 5 minutes, 10 minutes of, before they start doing whatever this is. It has to be them. But so rocks start coming in. It's torrential downpour. It's 9 o'clock at night. It's pitch black, and somebody's throwing rocks at us again. And they never hit us. Not once. These rocks never touch your body. But they're big enough, some of them, where if they hit you, some of them are the size of potatoes. They knock your head right off. So that was the second time. And still, we left, and, we're talking about on the way home. And we're like, dude, it's got to be a hobo. It's got to be like some homeless guy that's got a tent back there, and he doesn't want us there, and he's annoyed. And, that's it. That's all we could come up with. So I wasn't scared. I didn't have a feeling. I didn't have a reason to be nervous. I didn't have nothing like that. So maybe, again, 2 weeks later, we go back. And now it's 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So we get down there, and that year, every time we went, these 3 times, there was nobody ever down there, except for this one guy. So this old timer shows up. And he's like, oh, you boys are going to go fishing? Yeah. Oh, I've been fishing this pond 30 years. And this guy's like giving us, Senkos and certain colors, which is a rubber worm. He's giving us different stuff. And he's like, yeah, go over here in that corner. That's where these type of fish hang out. Go over there, and da-da-da. And he's long-winded, and he kept going, and Dan's getting impatient. He's like, hey, we got to go. I said, all right. I said, well, nice talking to you, sir. He's like, oh, no problem. And something just gave me the inkling to ask him if he's ever seen or heard anything weird. So I said, hey, can I ask you something? And the guy's like, yeah. I said, do you ever hear or see anything out here when you're fishing? He's like, no, not that I can think of. I said, all right. And he goes, oh, well, yeah. There's a weird rooster noise sometimes when I'm down here early in the morning. And I was like, oh, okay. Noted. So he's like, all right, good luck. Have fun. Yep, okay. We get out there. We're fishing. It's a beautiful night. No clouds, no nothing. We stayed till 10 this time. And Dan knows that I watch these podcasts. I watch you. I watch Wes. And that's actually it. I used to watch some other ones, but I don't agree with the way what they're doing anymore, so I stopped it. But he makes fun of me. So he's like, what do those Bigfoot do again? I said, what do you mean? He's like, what, do they whoop or something? I'm like, yeah. So we're just about to come in, and he's making these whoop sounds, and he's laughing. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And it's actually embarrassing because he's doing it loud, and I know people can hear. And I'm like, dude, just knock it off. Oh, yeah, okay. So we get back to the truck, and it's still a little bit daylight, but barely. I mean, I think the sun goes down at the time, like 8:30. So it's still a little light. And we're putting the boat away. And I'm waiting for it. I'm just waiting for it. I'm like, it's got to be third time's charm. Something's going to happen. And Dan is cheap, and he has these old ratchet straps that are all jammed up and rusty. And even though he has a brand new Toyota truck, apparently he can't buy new ratchet straps. So he's screwing around with these ratchet straps, trying to get the boat down. And I'm just panning around with the flashlight. And a rock flies out of the woods and lands by my feet. Right, it hits a bush, lands by my feet. And I told him, I said, Dan, it's doing it again. He goes, no, it's not. Shut up. You're not scaring me. This is dumb. I said, no, it's doing it again. And it just started doing it a lot. Like, there's a lot of rocks coming. I mean, it threw at least 20-something rocks. He's getting pissed. And he's like, dude, it's just a hobo. You need to calm down. I'm freaking out. I'm like, dude, I'm done. I don't want to be here. I don't like this. It's starting to kind of kick in that this is not just a person, but I still can't fully accept it. So he's like, you know what? I'll teach you the freaking lesson, whatever that is. And he grabs a pile of rocks, and he starts whipping them into the woods where these rocks are coming out. Every time he threw a rock, one would be passing it coming out. Like it knew he was throwing, it was matching him perfectly. It was like his rock it's not actually happening like that, but it was like his rock was bouncing off an invisible force field. That's how perfect it was. It was just, he'd throw in, boom, it was already passing. And he's like, what was that? I said, dude, I told you. I'm like, I'm done. A huge rock, bigger than a potato, comes out of the woods and lands dead nut center in the middle of the boat. And the weird thing is it didn't roll around, it didn't move. It was weird. It just hit the boat, and that was it. It just stuck in the middle of the boat like it was a magnet or something. And he's like, dude, I'm done. I said, dude, I'm done. I jumped in the truck first, and I locked the door, and a rock, like the size of a marble, hit the roof and rolled down, and I'm watching it, and it sat right on the wiper. So he gets in, and he's like, I'm not finished unratcheting the boat. I said, dude, just screw it. The boat's mostly in there. Just get out of here. We'll go up the road a mile or two, and we'll get out, and we'll check to make sure we have anything before we leave. So he's flying up the road. We're doing like 30, and this is like a narrow dirt road. Like it's pretty fast. We go up about a mile and a half, and we get out. And he's like, grab your flashlight. All right, so we're checking everything. The second I opened my door, a rock beamed right off the tree behind me. And we just drove more than a mile, doing 30. I'm like, do you still think it's a person now? Oh, I don't know what the hell it is. I said, well, hell did this person catch up to us if we just drove a mile at 30 miles an hour and they're already throwing rocks at us again? He's like, whatever, dude. You keep imagining crap. Keep watching the stupid Bigfoot crap or whatever you watch. Yeah, I'm done with this. Whatever. So that was the last time of August 2023. So whole year goes by. Now we're in last year. He goes, hey, you want to go to Halfway Pond? I just gave it away. But, all right, there it is, Halfway Pond. So I go, you know what? Yeah, I'll go. Screw it. What's the odds of this stuff happening again? So we get down there. This time, there's a bunch of people. We could barely find parking. There's people on jet skis, and we went early in the day. There's people swimming. Find a parking spot. It's in a different area than we usually park. And we get the boat in, and we're just fishing. Sure enough, 10 o'clock comes. It's pitch black. Coming in. And this time, the truck was right near the water. You didn't have to go get the truck. The truck was right there. He backs the truck. And this is a brand new, it's not brand new anymore. It was a leftover. It was a 2023 Tacoma. So he backs the truck down. And I'm waiting again. I'm like, it was a whole year ago. I'm like, I'm going to, I got my flashlight, panning around. And a rock comes flying out of the woods again. And mind you, this is the first time I noticed that everything is dead, perfectly quiet. There's not a sound. The only sound that I heard was a whippoorwill. That was it. And when I look back on all the other times, there wasn't, I'm like, there was no sound. There's no crickets, there's no frogs, there's no anything. So a rock comes in, and he's like, what? So I tell him, and he goes, well, what? I heard something. I said, yeah, it's rocks. And a rock beams right off the roof of the truck, brand new truck. And it kind of made like a sound like if you stepped on like an empty beer can or something. And he was like, dude, did that just hit my truck? I said, yeah, right on your roof. Now he's mad. And I just want to go. And as I'm holding my flashlight, it gets so hot in my hand that I can't physically hold it anymore. And it goes out. This is a brand new, that's not the same flashlight I had before. This is a better, newer one. And it gets hot in my hand. I can't hold it. I turn it off. I'm done. I get in the truck. He's done with the boat. He gets in. I'm like, dude, just go. Because these rocks were bigger than the last time. He's like, dude, calm down. And I'm like, no, go. And it's hot out. So he's sitting there, and he's playing with the AC, and he's turning the radio on or whatever station he wants. I'm like, dude, you got to go. Just go. Do you want dents? I'm screaming at him, actually, at this point. I'm like, do you like dents in your brand new truck? Because this is what's going to happen. Oh, stop it. You're being a baby. It ain't nothing. I said, okay, whatever, dude. And I'm antsy. I just want to leave. He's like, okay, calm down. He puts his foot on the brake, and he puts it in drive. And when he looks over in the driver's mirror and just starts losing his mind. And I'm like, he's screaming, don't look back. Whatever you do, don't look back. I don't have a flashlight anymore. It's done. And all I had was a little pocket, little cheap LED flashlight. He's stuffing it. I'm climbing in the back seat, and I open the slider, and I'm trying to shine. I can't see anything. He's just flying. And I'm like, I get back in my seat. I'm like, what did you see? Nothing. And he's flying. I'm like, what did you see? He's like, dude, I don't know. I don't know what it was. We get all the way to the main road, and he stops. And we're just sitting now. I think there's a street light there and stuff, and you're back in, on the main road. This car's going by. I said, what did you see? He goes, dude, all I know was big. Its eyes reflecting red, and I just seen it walk right behind the truck. And I said, okay, so that's what it was. He goes, no, I'm never going to admit that. That's not what it was. You don't know what that was. I said, dude, what was it then? I don't know, but I don't want to talk about it anymore. I said, okay, you don't want to talk? Nope, I don't want to talk about it. And this is a guy, I don't go hunting, I fish. He goes up in tree stands at 4 a.m. He's up there before daylight, climbs up there, never had a problem. Doesn't want to deal with this stuff. He doesn't want to think about it, doesn't want to care about it. It's just fairy nonsense, even though he saw the thing and I didn't. So that was last year. So that was the last time we went to Halfway Pond, and that will be the last time I will go there. So a week or two goes by. Calls me up. You want to go fishing? I said, yeah. Yep. You want to go to Halfway? No. Why? He goes, yeah, that is kind of weird. I don't want any more I said, okay, well, screw that. Let's go somewhere else. He said, well, let's fish in one of the ponds in Myles Standish. I said, okay. It's like, I think it's like as the crow flies, maybe 6-7 miles maybe away, 5 miles away from where we were. And I'm like, well, at this point, I'm still trying to grasp reality of whatever this is. So I'm like, okay, maybe it is still just kids. And then you add up how of an insane aim this thing has and the quietness. And when you shine the light, there's nothing there. And then what he saw. And in my mind, I'm like, as long as I'm not going back to that place, I don't care. So I'll go try another pond. So we go to one of the ponds in Myles Standish State Park. And there's nobody around. And we get the boat, put it in. He had to move the truck. He had to park another 100 feet away. There's nothing, there's no direct access. So we go out, and we're fishing, and it's a perfect night, and there's nothing wrong. And we're out there at about 10 o'clock at night, and we're coming back in, and we got to drag the boat up this, a gravel, like, drainage ditch thing. And actually the rocks are pretty big, so you're fumbling all over the place. We climb up this thing. He has to go get the truck, park it on the wrong side of the road, facing the wrong way to get it to where we can just get the boat in. And there's nobody out there. It's 10 o'clock at night. So, I got this new flashlight that I had, and I'm shining around. The one that didn't work before, that got hot. And there's no really, like, low underbrush. Everything's kind of just scrub pines, so you can see pretty good. So I'm just, just 'cause I'm like, I'm just going to look around and see. And he's already helped him put the boat in, and he's strapping it down again. And a rock comes skidding down the road. And you can hear it. It's going tink, 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 tink. And it's, half the size of a baseball. And I'm like, dude, it's doing it again. And he starts laughing. No, it's not. You're screwing. I said, nope, here it is again. And then a rock comes skipping up the road from the other way. And then they just started going like crazy. And they're all going right over the truck, right over our heads, not touching us. And I'm getting aggravated now because now this is the 5th time. And I just said out loud, I don't know who you are, what you are, but can you please stop? We're just fishing. We're leaving. We don't want any trouble. Please stop. And everything stopped. And I looked at him, and I'm like, what do you think this is? He's like, I don't know. So I waited about 30 seconds, and he had a 45 on it. So I said, if this is kids, maybe it'll scare them if I say this out loud. So I said, hey, Dan. He's like, yeah. Still screwing with the boat. I said, good thing you got your gun on you, right? And he went, yup. The second he said yup, a rock the size of a baseball pile-drived this no parking sign that was literally, maybe 2 feet over to his right and maybe about 3 or 4 feet back. It sounded like a gunshot. So he's like, I'm done. I'm out. So he just finished. We get in the truck, and we're flying out of there. And I said, you know what, dude? I'm sick of this. I said, turn around. He goes, what? I said, turn around.
Jordan, are you there? Oh, my goodness. I'm going to call Jordan back right now.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 77441.
All right, this is the second call today where we've gotten disconnected. I really hope I can call this guy back.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 774 is not available at this time. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Jordan, this is Jeremiah calling you back. We got disconnected or somehow. It's just like the phone went click on your side. I'm going to try the other number.
Please leave your message for...
Well, I just tried both of Jordan's phone numbers. It is very evident that someone does not want these calls to happen. Wow. Okay, I'm just going to have to see if he calls back. Let me text him here. Oh, here we go. All right. We're going to give him some time. Yeah. Well, this is really weird, guys. It's very, very weird.
And when I finished the story, I said basically like cueing you to be like, oh, wow, Jordan, well, and I'm like waiting. And I looked down at the phone and it was still going. It was like the call never ended.
Okay. I've got the recording going on. I'm bringing up the map of Plymouth again. So we were at, let's see, you were at the other pond in Myles Standish, and then there had been like a rock. Your buddy, you were like, hey, you have your gun, right? And he was like, yep. And then this huge rock hit the sign. And then yeah.
Oh, so you didn't hear anything about the cloud with the tail on it, with the smoke or anything?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh man, this is weird.
So is this one of those things where they're listening and then they cut the phone call?
I don't know, dude, but it happens a lot to me. I'm not even kidding.
Well, this is that's the thing that fascinates me more about Sasquatch than Sasquatch. Is why are they trying to hide it? And what else do they have to hide? That's what confuses me. That's the intrigue. And just like, what's his name there from How to Hunt? He says, if they admitted these things are real, then they'd have to admit all the other crap that they're pretending ain't real is real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway.
Yeah.
That's what makes me mad. It actually aggravates me because it's like,
same.
Why you hide? Like, what do you got to hide, dude?
Yeah.
Anyway, so hopefully I don't cut the cell phone.
Okay.
I will keep checking. If you don't mind, every 5 minutes, I'm going to ask if you're still there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for me. Yep.
Okay. So they threw a rock at the sign. And, it sounded like a gunshot. And it was right when I said, do you have your gun, Dan? So whatever it is knows what English is somehow. Or they can read your mind. I don't know. So we leave, and I say, no, turn around. I want to see this thing walk out. I've had it. So he goes, are you sure? I say, yeah, turn around. So we turn around. We go back down Myles Standish, down that road, and nothing happened. So he's like, dude, I got to get out and pee, dude. You got to cover me. So I get out, and I'm shining this flashlight. Nothing happens. Get back in the truck, and now we're heading back towards my house. We're heading the right way, and a rock beams off the truck. So he's pissed. It's a brand new truck. I think he paid like $45,000 for this thing. He goes, give me the flashlight. He gets out and he stands on the door still. The door still. he shines the light, he climbs up and he shines the light over the truck. And a rock lands directly in the boat in the back of the truck. You still there?
Yes.
Okay. So he freaks out. He's like, dude, we got to get out of here. I'm done. I don't want any. This thing already actually, like one of the rock, that last time we were at the other pond, the rock skimmed the roof of the truck. That's what that sound was. And it actually it took paint off. And if I go, like I looked at it the other day when he came over, it's rusting. Like it took the paint off. So we get out of there. I said, I'm never going back here again. I'm done. I'll go drive through here. I'll come here during the day. I'm not fishing here. So a few weeks go by. He goes, do you want to go fishing? I said, yeah. He go, where do you want to go? I said, why don't we go down near a giant reservoir? And there's a bunch of fire roads. And I've fished there my whole life. Never had a problem. And you got to walk in like a mile to get to this place. But it's nice because nobody else wants to. The fishermen either want to get in a boat and go, or they want to get out and fish off of a causeway or something. So we meet a church parking lot that's got a fire road going off the back of it. And it's right down the street. So we walk in. We're doing great. And a lot of big fish. We caught, 5-6 pounders. It was really nice. Right in the fall. They were all fattening up for winter. They were hitting everything. And now it's, we got there at maybe 5 by the time we walked out there. Now it's about 7:30 and it's starting to get dark. And he goes, I think it's time to go. I said, all right. So let's make a couple more casts. You okay with that? And now there's a big rock where we're at. And the shoreline where we're fishing, it was such a dry summer that the shoreline, normally you'd be in 2 or 3 feet of water. You're walking on it. And there's a rock the size of like 2 or 3 pickup trucks right on this peninsula, right on this point. So we climb up on the rock and we're fishing. The rocks just start coming in. And I freaked out so bad that I just got down on my knees and started praying the Lord's Prayer. I don't know what's happening. Like, I don't know. I just want it to go away. And now we're in the middle of we're a mile in the woods. He doesn't have his gun on him. There's nothing we can do. And the rocks just keep coming. So I get down and I start praying in the name of Jesus, leave us alone. As corny as that sounds to some people, that's what I believe. And it stopped. And I look at him, I go, what are we going to do? He's like, dude, grab you know what? And got to be a man. Got to walk out of here. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? So we start walking, and you got to walk, about 100 feet to get back into the woods because there's cliffs. You got, 12, 14, 15-foot cliffs up. That's where all this stuff was coming down at us. As we're walking back to the path, a log, about 8 inches in diameter and maybe 6-7 feet long, comes flying down off the top of the hill and just lands right on the beach, the rocks right in front of us. I shine the light back up there. There's nothing there. Nothing. I am done. I am hysterical. We start running out of there, and there's rocks bouncing off of the trees. There's branches breaking. We're getting pushed out. I get to the point where I can't run anymore. I got a big tackle bag. I got my rods. He's older than me. He's dying. We just stop, and I shine the flashlight back, and there's nothing there. And there's no sounds. There's no crickets. There's no bugs. There's no nothing. Still there?
Yes.
Okay. So, sorry, I don't mean to keep asking that, but I don't trust this phone. So,
I know.
It sucks. So, we finally get out of there. The second we get to that church parking lot, everything stopped. It just stopped. And I was so pissed. I was taunting. I was like, hey, I'm near my truck, because we took 2 separate vehicles. So my truck's there now. And my trucks are closest to the woods. And I'm like, come on, throw another rock. Come on, let's do it. Go ahead. Nope, nothing. They just stopped. So I'm revved up. He's revved up. He's like, dude, I'm done. I'm going home. That was enough for me. I said, yep, that's enough for me too, dude. So I go home. and I crack a couple of beers and just try to forget it. A couple weeks later, you want to go out again? I said, yes, I will go. I'm not staying till nighttime. I will leave with plenty of sun left in the sky. I am not doing this again. So we go. I can't relax. So we walk out there. I don't even want to fish. I'm too antsy. It's too much. So it's like 6 o'clock comes, and you could tell the sun's going to set. So I said, dude, I'm out. Let's go. Oh, come on. Don't be a you-know-what. Let's go. Come on. Nope. I'm done. He goes, all right. So we start walking out. It's daylight. I can see everything. And a rock the size of a basketball comes flying out of the woods. I can hear it hitting the branches above me. And it lands in the water. And it just makes the biggest kaploosh. And he's like, oh, wow, did you hear that fish? I said, how did you not hear? That's not a fish. He's like, yeah. Well, I said, no, it's not. And we're arguing. I'm like, how? And I'm yelling at him. I'm like, how dumb are you? That's not a fish, dude. I've had enough of this stuff. He goes, no, we got to get down there. You're just being paranoid. You're being paranoid. I said, I'm not being paranoid. And then a rock, we start walking again, a rock the size of a bowling ball, maybe like one of those little kid bowling balls, the bumper bowling balls, comes flying out of the woods, lands on the path, but directly between us, where we just walked, in between us, where I just walked, and bounces and goes into the lake. And somehow he doesn't hear this at all. So I turn around and I said, what the F? He goes, what? I said, how? Did you just trip? He goes, no. I said, what was that thump? Because I saw it. I'm like trying to rationalize it. So I already know what it was, but I'm like, what is going on? Like, why? How did you not hear it? Did I just see what I saw? And he's like, dude, you're freaking out. You need to calm down. I'm like, I'm not. Do you think I'm hallucinating, dude? Like, I'm not. I don't understand. Why? I'm like, dude, no, just go. He's like, dude, you got to calm down. I'm like, nope. And I start walking. I'm power walking out of it. I'm done. And he's behind me. He's like, dude, wait up. I'm like, nope. And the whole time, the rest of the time we're walking out, they weren't doing what they were doing at night. The last time. They were pelting everything, ripping branches off. There's rocks the size of baseballs taking branches off. And this was weird. They're dropping marble to golf ball size rocks from the sky. They're not getting whipped at you or past you. They're falling directly from above you, right in front of your face. And he's like, oh, dude, what was that? I said, dude, it's acorns. I'm like, dude, you think I'm that dumb? I watched the rock hit the ground and roll. No, it's just acorns, dude. It's the fall. I said, no. We get back. I said, dude, I'm never going in there again. And I've been in these woods my whole life by myself till midnight. And the only thing I can think of is back when I was in high school. I'm 34. Me and my buddy, my other friend Dan, just passed away. We rode our bikes out there to fish one time in a spot near there. And I got ahead of him and stopped to wait for him. And I was probably 14, 15. And a rock hit my bike tire and fell on the ground. That was it. And I turned around and said, hey, did you throw a rock at me? He goes, no. And his chain fell off. He was busy fixing his chain. And I never thought anything of it. That was it. So now I've had 3 times in Plymouth, the 23, and then one more at that halfway, and then another incident at the particular pond in Myles Standish. Now it's doing it down the street from my house. I'm miles from Myles Standish. So how is this happening? I don't understand. Why? How do these things know where I'm at, what I'm doing? Why are they bothering us? Why are they forcing us out? So I was talking, I shouldn't have done this because I get made fun of it to this day, but I brought it up to a guy at work. And he goes, oh, my buddy does a show and he has a podcast and da-da-da-da-da. Why don't you message him? He lives around here. And I won't mention who it is for his own privacy. But at that point in time, I just wanted some type of answer.
Sure.
And I don't believe in the regular conventional way that a lot of I'm not saying that anybody's wrong. Anybody can do this the way they want to do it. But you going out in the woods and banging on trees and making hooting and hollering and stuff, you might get a reaction. But usually these things just find you. from what I've found, I'm not an expert, but I'm not into that stuff at all. So he goes, you should really go and talk to him and blah, blah, blah. So I said, fine, screw it. So I messaged the guy, yeah, let me talk to you. Can I put you on speakerphone with my partner? I said, yeah. So we're talking. They're like, yep, that's what's going on. And I said, okay. Well, if you want to go out with us, you're more than welcome. And they wanted to see the place in daytime where the last thing happened. So I took them. And I kind of actually, to be honest, I felt kind of embarrassed because this is not my type of thing. It's not, I really listen to stories. I just want to hear encounters. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear, and I want to compare it to things that I've seen. It's interesting. I don't really go out. I'm not going out there looking for these things. That's not my thing. So I take them over there, and it was weird because when we were out there, again, this is a very congested area. I mean, there's clumps of a few thousand acres here and there, but that's it. We're on the shore of this lake that I took them to. It's right down the street, and sure enough, there's a pile of mussel shells. I'm talking like 100, more than 100 shells of freshwater mussels. And there's this big impression in the ground. So, okay, what was it? I told my friend Dan about it. He goes, oh, it's probably a raccoon. I said, no, dude, raccoons don't go and collect a big pile and then sit there and eat them. So whatever that was, I don't know. Other than that, that whole thing was kind of uneventful, and they wanted to see where things happened, and that was one of the weird things. That was it. No footprints, no nothing. So a couple of weeks later, and now we're in October, and later October, and the guy goes, hey, do you want to go out to one of our spots? And I won't say where it is. And I said, you know what, screw it. I've seen Find a Bigfoot and all this. I said, okay, I'll go check it out. What do I have to lose? It's a Friday night. I don't care. So I go out with them, and they're banging on trees and whooping and sitting in silence. And I'm like, to me, this is dumb. I'm like, I'm already thinking about what I want to eat for dinner, what I'm going to watch later. And I'm not making fun of them. I'm just saying, like, I was just like kind of checked out. I'm like, okay, this is what I thought it would be. So we're walking out of the woods, and there's a big field and where we came in from, and it's off of a main road. So we're in the woods about 100 feet still, and we're walking out, and all of a sudden, there's all these little lights, and they are about the size of like a big marble, and they're just blinking. One here, one there, one here, one there. And I'm like, what is that? They're like, what? I'm like, what is that? And they're like, oh, that means that they're around. I'm like, what do you mean them? What do you mean? Like what do you mean? Oh, well that's what they do. I said, what do you mean that's what they do? And all of a sudden, this orb, the size of like a baseball. Now, mind you, this is like a small clump of woods compared to other parts. Like, this is like a few hundred acres, okay? This baseball-size orb comes drifting through the trees, and it starts to grow. And it goes to about the size of an exercise ball. And it's pulsating. Now it's going down about the size of a basketball, and then back to an exercise ball. And when I'm looking at this thing, it looks like one of those, it's got like, you know when you look at one of those deep ocean jellyfish that's got like the different colors, like the strobing stuff? Like, you barely could make it out, but you could see that in it. And this thing is getting smaller and bigger, and it's drifting back through the woods and forward through the woods, towards us, backwards. And it's weaving around trees. And there's no sound. And it's just like everybody else says that sees these orbs. It wasn't emitting light. It was just all self-contained. It was weird. And I never got a feeling from this thing that it was violent, it was angry, it was evil. I just couldn't believe what I'm looking at. There's no way, after all these stories and accounts that I've heard about these stupid orbs, and I still believe them, but I'm like, there's just no way that I'm ever going to see something like this. And I found it weird. Like, why am I seeing this after? Like, why did this not happen? Like, obviously, that's what was throwing the rocks at me and my friend. So Now I'm with a group of these researchers, okay, and this is happening. So we're watching this thing for 20 minutes, half hour, I don't know. And all of a sudden just kind of dissipates, backs up, and it's gone. And then 2 pairs of eyeballs show up that are 8 feet tall. White eyeballs, glowing white, like a yellowy white. And I'm watching these things blink and everything. And I don't know what I'm looking at. I mean, I know what I'm looking at, but I don't know if it's them. I don't know if it's some type of deity. I don't know. All I know is there's 2 big sets of eyeballs. I don't know what to do. I'm you're kind of stuck. I mean, I had my truck there. I could have ran away. You know, it's a few hundred feet away out in the field. I could have ran. I think you get kind of, you don't want to ruin it. You're like, well, if I die. I don't think I will, but I'm probably not going to get this chance again. So I'm staying with them, and we're just watching these eyes. And one of the guys hands me a, it wasn't thermal. It was a night vision set of binoculars or something. And he's like, look at it. Okay. And I grab it, and I'm looking at one of the sets of eyeballs. And it looked like a 5-gallon bucket for a head with a 5-foot shoulders standing behind a rhododendron bush. I didn't see any detail. I couldn't see the hair, couldn't see a face. It was just eyes with a giant outline. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Well, what? It's like, you shouldn't be seeing this. This is insane. So, and mind you, it got really cold. All of a sudden, it was just freezing. I mean, we went in the woods, it was 50, 60 degrees out. I mean, it was so cold that my hands were going numb. I don't know if that was just me, my body's reaction to I don't know. So we get out of the wood line. We're making our way back towards the vehicles, and these things are just keeping their distance, but they're following us out. Once we got to the field, you just watch. They never left the woods, just the 2 of them. And I look up at the sky. Everyone's infatuated with the woods. And the sun wasn't completely down. And you know how, like, right before you can get that really rich pink sky?
Mm-hmm.
There was no clouds. This one cloud almost wasn't perfect. Like, it wasn't a straight line triangle, but it looked like a wedge. It looked like just a triangle cloud the size of a pickup truck. And it was only, 100 feet, 150 feet above the wood line. And it's coming over us. And it's got a tail on it. A black, smoky tail. That, it looked, I don't know, it almost looked like a comet tail. But it was just really fluffy and wispy, and it did come out to a point. But it was, I don't know what I'm looking. It's all too weird. The whole thing is too weird. And it's got like sparkles in it. It's got, the cloud itself looked just like a regular kind of cloud other than the weird shape. But the tail on this thing almost looked like a black, dirty, sooty smoke with like gold flake in it. I get everyone's attention. They're all, I said, what was that? Everyone looks up. The second everybody looked at it, everyone saw it, it disappeared in thin air, gone. And when it did, 2 more sets of eyeballs showed up. Now there's 4 of them. So, again, I sound like an idiot for saying this stuff because this isn't supposed to exist, but, I mean, I've never really quite heard. I've heard some weird stuff, but I've never heard anybody talking about a cloud with a tail on it. So that, and then 2 more of these things show up. So that's the first I've ever heard of it. And I've, put thousands of hours into listening to these podcasts. So that was weird. And we're going to leave. They all went out. Another 20 minutes. Their eyes just disappeared. And like, okay, they're gone. And we're all talking about it. And now they show up on the other side of the field near the road where we have to leave by. And it's all 4 of them. And you can see them moving around. They're walking through. There's no sound. You can see where their eyes are moving. I look off to the right. after I was only counting 3 pairs of eyes, and I look off to the right, and I just saw a big, giant black mass just moving across the field. My flashlight wouldn't have reached it. And then they all went out, and we just left. We were leaving, and I had to bring one of the guys home. And when I came out into the main road, the reason why I'm not mentioning any of this is just for respect for him, because this is his research area, and if I mention the road, everybody will know where it is around here. So I just, for respect for him, I won't do that. But when we pull out on the road, there's a F-350 sitting there, and the lady's got all the interior lights on, and she's sitting there with her elbows on the steering wheel, with her hands up on her forehead, just staring out the window. And I turned to the gentleman and I said, should we talk? He's like, nope, just keep going. I said, okay. So I don't know what that lady saw, but she looked extremely distraught, and it was right where these things just were before they left. So I drop them off. I don't know what to make of it. I had to go to Walmart parking lot and sit for a few hours under the streetlights just to calm down. It was just too weird. It was just from everything, the terrifying things that happened in the woods, the stuff at the boat, and now I'm seeing this stuff with my own eyes. It was just too much. I ended up not getting home till like 1 a.m, and I had to work the next day. So I didn't go out with them again. I kind of wanted to forget about it. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. So the winter goes by, and nothing. I'm not outside. I'm not dealing with it. I'm busy plowing and sanding for the town. I got a lot of stuff going on. So March finally comes, and the weather's getting nice, and the same one that all the stuff happened with, except he wasn't there for the visual stuff. But he goes, "You want to go fishing?" I said, "Yeah, all right." So we meet up, and it's a little river. It's deep, but there's a lot of fish in it, and it's in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of a wooded area. And it's daylight. I get out of the truck, and a rock flies over my truck. And he gets out, and I said, "Dude, a rock just flew over the truck." He goes, "No, it didn't." And I said, "Yes, it's getting old at this point." I said, "Yep, it just happened." He goes, "Dude, it's just people." I said, "How many times are you going to say it's just freaking people, dude?" Now we're in a totally another spot. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. So I start fishing with him. Every time we cast the lure, a rock was hitting exactly where we were just casting lures. And it got to the point where there's no point in being here anymore. And packed it up, and then we left. And I haven't been near the woods. I can't go back. It's ruined this for me. And this was something that I did. There was nothing better than I liked to get out of work, grab my fishing poles. I mean, I'm not like, I know a lot of people make this stuff up and stuff, but I have PTSD, and that was my number one thing to give me peace of mind and relaxation, was to grab a couple beers, throw in my tackle bag, walk out a mile or two, and just sit there till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night and just fish. I can't do that anymore. I'm done. I refuse. Because the next step, yeah, dude, I'm done. So I don't know. Take all that for what you will. I hate liars. I really do. And I hope you think I'm telling the truth, because I actually don't even know. I just want answers. And this is ruining. I'm afraid to go outside at night by myself. I mean, I have 1,200, 1,300 acres behind my house. It's creepy. I don't like it. I don't know when the phone cut off earlier, but I mean, I was younger and weird stuff would happen around here. And I never thought of this stuff. I mean, I can remember sitting there in high school, a little after that actually, and something would just smack the side of the house really freaking loud. It would shake the paintings on the wall, and you come outside and there's nothing there. And it's like, okay, was that? I don't know. None of this makes sense. I can't wrap my head around the cloud with the smoke on it, and then magically 2 more sets of eyeballs appear. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but I've never heard that.
And first thing I want to say is that it's not crazy, because it is so It's not the first time that I've heard something like this, although the rock throwing is probably the most intense example I've ever heard of rock throwing, to be honest. I mean, I've never heard of that where it follows you to different places like that. That's very extreme, dude.
Yeah, I don't get the point. I don't like. I've tried to ask different people, like, who are you with? I'm like, my friend Dan. Well, what did he do? I'm like, I don't know. Hold on, my friend's calling me. I gotta mute it. They're like, did he take a pox shot at one of these things or something? I'm like, I don't know, dude. It doesn't make any. So he's out in the tree stand all the time. They don't screw with him. I've been out fishing by myself millions of times in those same woods. Nothing. It's only when we're together, and I don't get it. And nothing adds up. And then, the thing with the cloud, dude, with the smoky tail on it, with the glitter in it, or whatever you want to call it, and then the thing turns into two more sets of eyeballs. It's like, what are they doing? Like, what is that? Like, I don't know if that's like how they move around in this realm. Because in my opinion, they're not here all the time. And everyone's like, oh, we're going to go try to find where they live. They don't live here. I don't think they live here. I think that they visit. And I could be wrong. Maybe they stay here for months on end, and that's why people find nests and tree structures and whatever. But, you know, after watching a lot of Flash of Beauty, I watched a gentleman, I can't remember his name. It was out of Vermont. What's the capital of Vermont there? I can't think of it.
Oh, yeah. I know the one you're talking about. I'm blanking too. Because he does a lot. What is that guy's name? He does a lot of tree structure stuff.
Yeah, he's an older guy. He's got glasses. He talks about how these things act a lot like how a autistic person would act.
Right.
They know if you move and touch things, and they're loud and vocal, and they get mad at certain things, and they like things in a certain way, and they know how things are. So it's like, I don't know if me and Dan, my biggest thing is this. I think that they only are, I've heard this before, that they're coming here to this plane of dimension or realm or whatever, certain months of the year. And maybe there's different ones that stay here all the time. I don't know. And obviously, there's good ones and bad ones. Because the size of these rocks that they're throwing, I'd be dead. So that's the thing that makes me question, like, if they wanted me dead and they were evil and they were some satanic evil demon, I'd be dead already. Because these things are perfectly accurate. It's insane how accurate they are. It makes no sense. So I can't wrap my head around it, because I think there's just we're only getting a little glimpse of what these things are doing and what they're capable of. So that's what weirds people out. Everybody that's like, oh, it's just a monkey. If I got to hear it's a monkey one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. It's not a monkey. It's not a monkey. There's no way it's a monkey. Oh, well, then it's an ape. No, you're not missing the point. I know it's not a monkey. You mean ape in general. Yes, I know, primate, whatever. Or, and I will mention this. I started off like everybody did, or most people do. When I started listening to these podcasts, I won't mention the specific podcast that got me into all this stuff. But at the time, I'm sure you'll put two and two together when I start mentioning it. It was about, it's a lost chain of the evolutionary tree, and these things are no more than some type of branch off the Neanderthals or some whatever, Australopithecus, and then they get in. It's like, no. These things, they do kill, they do eat, they do live, they poop, they pee, they leave residue, they leave DNA. But there's so much to this that we don't know, and then everyone wants to put a label on it. Like, I know exactly what it... No, you don't. You don't know crap. I don't know crap. All I know is what I saw, and it's something not of this world that we're not used to. So, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, it is intense. And I'll tell you, like, I've only talked to a few people from Massachusetts, but this is one of the I would say probably the most intense encounter series I've heard from Massachusetts. And it's weird because, it's an area that you don't hear a lot about, this Plymouth area, which is, south of Boston, not quite the Cape. It's just an interesting area, but there's a lot of like swamps and stuff in there. And you've got like the Bridgewater Triangle, right?
Yes.
Just a weird area.
There's got to be. So when I went out with those people that I got linked up with,
Mm-hmm.
and you're finding that big giant pile of mussel shells. Why is there a pile of 100+ mussels with a giant imprint in the reeds? Like, this is right on the shore of a lake. There's a giant imprint. You can see it. It was like, I don't know, 4 feet wide, 2 foot, deep. And there's just like, what is that? Like, what are they doing? Like, are they here to like use resources? And like, I mean, I've heard plenty of stories where these Native Americans, say they've seen them near granite walls and they just disappear into
Mm-hmm.
a rock wall. It's like, or they go through port. Like, I don't know. And I think the thing is, people try to put this thing into a category. There is no category. If I had a best guess of what they are, is there something that has been here, and there's something that is beyond human comprehension. And I think that humans at one point, I don't believe what we've been told about the history of the human race. I think the Bible has it mostly right. I think that it's also been manipulated. I think that there's giant pieces missing. The elites that run the world don't want every normal person to know where we came from. And it's all about power and control. I mean, we don't need to run cars on oil and have, like, solar crap is stupid. It just pollutes more. Oh, electric cars. Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, okay. I bought a Tesla. Look how great I am. The whole thing is just a facade. The whole thing. And it's like, I want to know. It goes back to the Great Forgetting. They talk about the Great Forgetting, where obviously the pyramids aren't just to bury a pharaoh. That's stupid. Who builds that you can't build today, and you don't know how it works, but it's all laser measured. You can't put a piece of paper between each of the rocks, but yet they did it. Oh, well, yeah, they built that to put the pharaoh. No, we're being lied to, and I don't like it, and I want to know why we're being lied to. And these things have something to do with where we came from and who we are, and I don't like that certain people. There's multiple people on this planet right now that knows exactly what these things are. That's the sad part.
No, I agree with that 100%. There are definitely individuals that have more knowledge about this subject than the general public, for sure. Does so you experience all this stuff out when you're fishing and in other places. Is it at the point where it's also following you home? Like, there's weird stuff that happens at home as well?
I get to a point where I don't know if it's pareidolia or paranoia, I should say, where I come out at night. Like, I've got to this is embarrassing. This has bothered me to the point where, say I'm alone, like my girlfriend's at her house and my mother lives with me. I own my own house. My mother lives with me. I actually live in my childhood house. Long story short, because of reasons that my mother couldn't keep the house, I had to step up and buy it. So I own the house that I grew up in. I've been here for 30 years. We moved here when I was 4. So I'm 34. I've owned this house 30 years. There's been really weird things that have happened around here, but not lately. Other than the fact that my buddy, the first weird thing I've ever noticed around, and this is before I got into the subject at all, I didn't care. And mind you, I was stationed in Fort Lewis. There's Class A reports on Fort Lewis.
Absolutely.
I didn't give a crap about that stuff. I was in the Army. I was 22, 23. I didn't care. I was out drinking and partying with people, you know. I didn't care. That Sasquatch, oh yeah, Bigfoot lives in Washington. Like, nobody cared. So I lived in Bigfoot capital of the world, and I didn't care. I come back here, and then, you know, you get into the podcast and all. But anyway, to get back to it, when I was younger, I was in high school, and I don't know, I was 14, 15, and me and my buddy were having a fire one time, and we're out near the woods, and like I said, there's 1,200, 1,300 acres of woods behind my house, and we didn't drink back then. You know, I was a late bloomer. We didn't smoke weed. We're just sitting there having a fire. It was dead quiet. It was great. All of a sudden, there's a 20-foot sapling. It's still a sapling. It's still, you know, it's only like 3 inches at the base. Maple tree, just shaking. And this thing is screaming. Just this god-awful screaming. And I had back then flashlights sucked. There's no, like, LED real stuff back then and whatever. It was just like a stupid, 3D cell mag light. And I'm shining. There's nothing there. And I'm watching this tree whip back and forth with this screaming. And it moved across my yard without us seeing it and got into the corner of the other part of the yard, and it's doing the same thing. And we're both just standing up. We stood up. We're watching, and there's nothing there. And it just screamed and went off into the woods. And my friend was like, what the frick was that? I said, I don't know. So it sounded like a dying goat. So we just called it the goat beast. And he was like, whatever. And I can remember when I got out of the Army, I was 23, and was sitting at home, and I was sitting in the chair watching TV, and all of a sudden it sounded like somebody backed a truck into the house. It was like, boom! And the paintings on the wall moved, like the TV rattled on the cabinet. I go outside with the flashlight, nothing there. What was that? So years go by. Now I have what happened to me happen. And nothing remotely around, years and years of nothing happened around here. So I've had what happened to me, but not here. So, excuse me, my buddy is a really avid hunter. Not the guy that I witnessed this with. This is another kid that I know that I met at another job, and he's, real into everything. He'll go to Maine, go bear hunting with dogs, and go coon hunting and all this stuff. And he goes, hey, that property behind your house, that's not posted. I said, no. She's like, do you care if I use your yard? I'll park my truck and go in there. I'm like, I don't care. He's like, sure? I'm like, no. So he'll go in there. He was going in there at 4 a.m, and he set up a tree stand. The next day I'm at work. It's already 7 o'clock. He's coming out of there. He had the day off. He goes, I am never going in there again. I said, what happened? He goes, dude, I don't know what that was, but it sounded like a bulldozer going through the woods, ripping trees down, smashing, screaming. And I'm like, what did it sound like? He's like, it was screaming. I don't know. He's like, it was literally yards from me. I think I had my headlamp on, and I'm watching it looked like Jurassic Park when the raptors are killing the cow. And I'm like, well, what happened? He's like, nothing. It took off, and it was gone. He's like, I'm never going in there again. And he's never been back since. So other than that, the only other thing I can think of was when I was in high school, me and my buddy Dan, the other one, my friend Dan, he passed away, the other friend Dan, we would go out fishing down these fire roads where this stuff happened. And we would be on bicycles. And we had, we made fishing rod holders out of PVC pipe, and we'd zip, hose clamp them to the frame of the bike and stuff, and you'd have rod holders. And we'd go out to these places. I remember getting ahead of him one day, and I turn around and realize he's not there. So I stop, and I'm going, Dan, and a rock hit the back wheel of the bicycle while I'm turned around. I watched it hit the tire and hit the ground. And I'm like, okay. So I turn around, and I go back, and he's about 100 foot back, and his chain fell off. So I'm like, did you throw a rock at me? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, what? He's like, no, my chain fell off. I was like, oh, so he's screwing with that. He didn't, and that was it. So these things have been there. I've had the other thing I can think of, I used to drive a rig. I'd have to drive to Stoughton, Mass. It took me about an hour. And one day I had to leave at like 4 in the morning. I used to have to drive to Lebanon, New Hampshire to go pick up a load. And I left here at 4. And I'm driving my pickup. And I remember watching this. It just looked like a shadow. It was just it was the shape of a human, huge. And it was so black that it absorbed the headlight. It was weird. You know, like at night when you go out, your headlights suck more because when the road's wet, it's blacker and it just sucks the headlights in. That's what it looked like. It just walked across the road, and it was a ways up though. And you're like, okay, and this is before I was even into any of this stuff, so it didn't matter to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, what was that? I don't know. I'm too tired. I don't care. I don't want to go to work. This sucks. And that was it. So there has been weird things that have happened at my house, but for some reason these things, I feel like I haven't gone back to any of these places after they screwed with me, and it's almost like I don't know. It sounds dumb, but it's almost like they're respecting me by not screwing with me where I live. I don't know, because they have to have some type of not empathy, but not respect. I can't think of the word, but they are not vindictive. These ones around here are not vindictive. They're not vengeful seeking. They're not trying to ruin my life. I do get creeped out though coming out here at night. I mean, the other night I'm sitting out here. I come out. I don't sleep. I have insomnia. It's from the war, from just stress. I push it to the limit every time. I have to be dead tired and just hit this wall, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed. So I have a back porch that's 100 feet from the woods, and I have a little table with an umbrella, and I came out to smoke a cigarette. And it's dead quiet. All of a sudden, I hear crack, 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 boom, and this massive tree fell down. And then I kept hearing weird voice, like you could hear mumbled voices, and then it just stopped. So we did just have a big storm come through. A bunch of trees came down. So it's like, okay, was it that, or is it just? Is it these things and they pushed a tree down, or is it me being paranoid and it was just a tree that was ready to fall because of the wind? I don't know, but there's definitely been really weird things around here. Another thing is, and it kind of got me. When I was a little kid, part of my yard now that's actually not a yard anymore. It's all woods now, and it goes up to the main road. It was a field when I was a kid. My dad would mow it, and the grass would get up about 3 foot high, 4 foot high. My dad would mow it. Well, then we gave up on it. But I remember being a little kid, walking up there, and there would be these big impressions in the high grass, huge, and there would always be a turd in the middle of it, like a big one. Like it looked like a really, really big human turd, and it'd be like, oh, and me and my friend would be hanging out and be like, what's that? And be like, oh, that's where a deer was. And I was like, well, what's that? And he's like, oh, that's probably deer poop. And you're like, okay. But what was it? I don't know. For all I know, it was a hobo that was just coming and crap. I don't know. It was just weird. It was just one of those weird things. And my father, I remember him waking me up. He's passed away, but I might have been like 8 or 9. He came in my room early on a Sunday morning. He goes, hey, did you hear that? I said, no. He said, it sounded like a Clydesdale running through the yard. I said, no, I didn't hear anything. He's like, I could feel it in my bed. I said, what do you mean? He's like, I could feel the thumping in my bed on the second floor, which is now my room. I'm a little kid. I'm like, no, I didn't. He's like, that was strange. I said, I don't know. And that was it. But there's been weird stuff, and I've seen the dogs just lose their minds. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to tell you, that rock that it threw in the bed of the truck that one time at Halfway Pond, when I got home, I was curious, so I got a Jack Russell and a beagle. And the beagle's kind of like a vegetable. I adopted her. She was like a breeder dog. Some piece of crap just used her to pump out puppies and left her in a kennel, so she's kind of like out of it. But the Jack Russell, the male, I've had him since a puppy. He's a very smart dog. I took the rock and I wanted to see what he'd do, and I put it down on the ground on the floor in the living room. He went over to it, smelled it, and went right in his crate. And he just sat there and looked at me. That's not normal. He was freaked out. And everyone's like, oh yeah, whatever. No, he was fine. He was wagging his tail. He came up to me. He was happy. Everything's fine. He loves to see me. I just said, here. And I put that rock down. And he smelled it. And he went, nope. And he went right in the crate and sat there. Mm. So what was that? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've witnessed. So the problem with this subject is you instantly get labeled a fruitcake, and it sucks, especially around here, like you know. This just doesn't happen here.
Absolutely. Well,
this is not, yeah.
I think personally it happens there, just people are scared out of their minds to be labeled, as you just said, and no one talks about it. That's personally what I think. But
me too. Well, like when you listen to you talk about the stuff, and then you listen, because you and Wes are the only two I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about, you both talk about well, not you two, but like the people you interview. Down south, I mean, they got Booger Hollow, Booger this, watch out for the boogers, all these people. They were raised around it, but it was still taboo to talk about it. It's not like Washington State where it's like, oh, yeah, it's like a commercial thing. Here, this place, out of everywhere, this is the number one no-no zone. You do not talk about it here. This is, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's you don't get many responses when you go around talking to people out in that area of New England, for sure. Is it a thing where you want these interactions to stop, or you're kind of okay with them?
This is a weird feeling I get, and mm-hmm. I don't know if it's based on reality or not, but what I'm assuming is this. That one time it showed itself and it walked behind the truck, and Dan saw it and I didn't. I'm jealous of him in a weird way, because it's what I want. My mind can't make itself up. I mean, I've seen their eyes. I've seen the outline of them. I've seen the cloud weird thing that I can't explain that makes no sense. But if I had a face-to-face encounter at 20 feet, I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I'd probably pass out. I don't know. Like, I don't. But yet, the other part of my brain's like, you want that. You want to see one. You want to just have that final piece of proof where it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, because it's just for you. But I'm like, well, in my head, I'm like, I already got to that point. I'm already there. It's just, the thing is, what I saw could be labeled as, anybody else in the industry could be like, okay, so did you actually see a 7-foot-tall Sasquatch standing in front of you? No, I didn't. Okay, well then how do you know it's not a demon? How do you know it's not a ghost? How do you know? I don't know that, but I'm 90% sure that's what that frick it is, because it lines up with that. It couldn't be, it's not Skinwalker, it's not obviously it's definitely not a freaking bear. So none of it makes sense. So I have a gut feeling that if I went out tonight, for some reason, like I said, being aware of these things, it's almost like the more you invite this into your life, the more you're going to see it. So if I had a little bit more willpower or, balls, I'd go out there tonight and I'd sit out there, the last place this happened with me and Dan, and I would sit there. And they would come. They would come. I know for a fact they would come. Because it has nothing to really do with him. It's like I'm there. Now they know I'm aware of them, and they're aware of me. So if I want to see one, I'm going to see one. Do I want to? No, not right now. But yet I do. But I want that thing that everybody else gets. It'd be nice to be like, I was driving to work, and I saw one of these things walk right in front of me. Did I kind of see that? A little bit. But it was just a big, giant shadow. I don't know what that was. I want to see hair, the eyes, the shine from the eyes. I want to see its mouth open. I want to see its teeth. I want to see, but in a car, driving. If I'm out in the woods where I used to go, and one of these things is there, I don't think that I'm quite ready for that. But then again, I've been listening to these shows for a long time, and I've been listening to these interviews for a long time. And very rarely have I ever heard of them actually hurting anybody. I have heard it. It's just extremely rare. And again, it goes back to what they did to me, and I saw how great they are with throwing. If they wanted to kill me, they would have killed me already. So
absolutely,
I'm kind of, they could have easily, especially that one rock dude that was the size of a freaking basketball. I don't know how. I told, you got to be careful who you open up to about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of find a friend that's open to certain things. Like, do you believe in aliens? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't it? And I have a whole other theory on aliens. I don't think they're actually that good. But anyway, you try to open up to people, and they're like, no, what are you doing? And you're like, okay, you know what? Never mind. I'm done. Like, there's no point. So I'm kind of, it's almost like living, I'll put it this way. I'm sure other veterans could relate to this, or cops, or anybody that's been through something really, really bad. You are the only person, most likely, in your immediate family or group setting, work setting, whatever, that's going to know what you went through. And you're going to be the only person that has had that experience. So you kind of feel like an outcast because no one else is going to get you. Now you add this into it. This is fairy tale stuff to people. This is, yeah, whatever, dude. You're nuts. Just go. Were you drinking? No. And like every other thing, I don't know anybody that's hallucinated off a drink. So I don't know, man. It's kind of like once you get into this, it's kind of like a curse. It's not a horrible, evil curse that's like ruins your life. I mean, I'm sure that there are people that actually have had this ruin their life. I mean, in a way it is, I guess, to me, because I can't go in the woods by myself anymore. So I guess it did kind of, but I'm not going to dwell on it. It's just one of my hobbies went down the toilet.
Right.
That's all I can say.
It definitely affects different people in different ways. Sometimes way worse than others. And it is interesting how there's seems to be a pattern where, people that have had some heavy traumatic. Oh, no way. Really? Oh, man. Again?
Your call has been forwarded.
This is the wildest interview of all time. Let's try again.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message. Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 7.
Yeah, there goes the phone again, dude.
Jordan, that was really, I was like, there's no way that just happened again. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Dude, that was on my landline, dude. There's no way that, dude, listen, I've lived here for 30 years.
Mhm.
That is the same phone number I've had. That is not the same phone. That phone has been in the same spot for 3 decades. I have never, ever had this happen, ever in my entire life. And the phone, again, when you cut out, I looked at it. It never hung up.
Wow.
It kept counting. It kept counting the minutes. The phone never went nothing, dude.
It's so weird. You definitely have some pretty intense stuff going on. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I would say there's probably some intense stuff going on. Oh man, I don't know.
So here's my question to you. You've been doing this a lot longer than me, and you've known a lot. You have heard, there's stuff, I haven't even fully touched your whole catalog of what you've done. Okay. So you've heard everything and everything. Okay. Yeah. What do you really make of that phone?
Usually so I hear it from a lot of other podcasters that have, phone issues, and usually, so that's the weird thing, because usually when it happens on my show is the person's starting to talk about more fringe topics like giants or Nephilim or stuff where it's like they in quotation marks really don't want that out there. So it's weird though, because yours, you haven't been, I mean, I can't figure it out. It's very,
I think it's because
stuff.
Yes, it is. I think it's because this is a very wealthy area and there's a lot of money around here. I mean, you got the Cape, you got, like, I work in Wareham. Right. So you got Onset, all that stuff. Rochester, where I live, we don't even have a street light, dude. Like, there's like,
oh, wow.
They keep this. The houses around here are going for. This used to be like a redneck town. It was a blue collar town. Now it's all doctors and lawyers that work in Boston that they don't mind driving an hour to work, or they remotely work. So this became a very ritzy town. I live in a very ritzy town, and it was not like that when I was a child at all. So I'm wondering if money has to do with this. I get really frustrated with what's going on, because obviously the world's not the way it's supposed to be, and obviously we've been lied to. I mean, you even get into what's going on the news is full of, the news is garbage anyways. But you look at, I voted for Trump. Now, oh yeah, we're going to get the files. Now, oh nope, they don't exist. So what are you hiding? What are you all playing this game? You all holding these secrets to the world, and we're as a human race, we're not allowed. We're not worthy of knowing all this stuff. So what I think it's getting to is the veil is getting really thin.
Yeah, and
people are starting to wake up, and they don't like it, and it's scaring them, because now, what they did? They played the left and the right, and now people are starting to go, hey, they screwed me over. Yeah, they screwed me too.
Right,
oh, really?
Right. Exactly.
Oh, well, oh, geez. Well, you know what? I don't hate you anymore. I think we have this common enemy. Oh, really? That's the common enemy. It's the people that hold the secrets, and I don't like it, and it 100%. Bothers me. And I'm not afraid of them. 100%. I'm not afraid of them.
It's wild stuff, Jordan, and man, like I can 100% say, like, your story is not a just in the past thing. Like, there's probably going to be stuff that continues to happen.
If I went out right now, if I went out right to where I was at and I stayed till dusk, I'm going to have something happen to me. Yeah. And that's what I know. And that's what stops me from doing it. It's not paranoia anymore. It's a fact. You know what I mean? It's just a fact. That's what sucks, dude. And I'm stuck now. So when I want to go fishing, I have to go in highly public areas because they won't do it there. So it's like, okay, I got to drive down to so I don't care who. I've already, I've already given away a bunch of places. So around here, everybody goes to this place called the Lakes. and that's down in Lakeville Middleborough line, and it's technically one big lake, but they divided it with a causeway, and it's the Quittacus, Little Quittacus, Assawamsett, that stuff. If I go out, that's where that stuff happened. And if I go out there right now, because these things know I'm aware of them, I'm going to have stuff happen to me. And I don't want it to. So I feel like I'm a prisoner. So it's like I work all day. I work hard. I do a good, honest living. And all I want to do is have my peace. And I can't have that anymore. And I don't think they really mean harm, like I said, but it's like, it's still enough to startle you and just to be like, I'm done. I don't know what to do. I even actually called one of my sergeants from the Army. I won't mention his name, but he grew up in Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure it's not Cherokee, it's Choctaw. And I asked him what to do. And he goes, you got to go out there and leave them something. And then they'll leave you alone. And I'm like, really? He goes, yep. I said, okay. Well, even at that, I still don't want to risk it. You know?
Yeah, different people definitely have, that's one thing that does usually come up. Some people will even, use prayer, use the name of Jesus Christ in order to say, okay, leave me alone. And they'll use it. It's really, different people end up using different things. And it has a lot to do with like, okay, what are you putting your faith in? It's very strange. But different things do seem to have, different things work for different people. It's very strange, the stories that you hear. But I think at this point, you don't want things to happen, so you're not going out. But man, imagine if you could get to the point where you could kind of stop things from happening, and then you could go enjoy the woods again, right? Or fishing.
It's just, why are they choosing to? Because where I go, there's people out there at night all the time. They're not getting bothered. So it's strange, and it comes down back to, I'm aware of them, and they know that I'm aware of them, so then they're going to make their presence known, and then they're going to go, okay, it's time to go. And what that Native American sergeant I had told me was basically, they are aware of you, and you're aware of them, and now you both know each other, and now they want you to leave because they're there to do their thing. They're there to grab fish. They're there to grab mussels. They're there to get their energy or their gathering, whatever, and they want you out. And okay, so why don't you do that to everybody? Why aren't you doing that to other people that are there fishing late at night? I've talked to plenty of guys in there at night. Say, hey, you go down there at night, yeah? Anything happen? Nope. Okay. So it's just really weird why I'm the one that's getting bothered. It just it makes no sense.
Jordan, what a conversation. I mean, I never would have thought just stuff like you're experiencing is going on in that corner of Massachusetts. I mean, I'm so glad that we got connected and that you were able to share what you experienced over the years. And, please, if stuff does happen in the future, please feel free to reach out if you have any updates. But yeah, just such an interesting story. It's intense, and man, I hope the best for you with all this. I think you're going to get a handle on it, even more than you do now. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I hope I do. I just I don't think it's still fresh, dude. I don't think I can, it's still there. I don't think that I'm going to be alone in the woods anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not at night. That's the thing. I'll go out, I mean, here's the other thing. Me and Dan, went out, in May and looked for antlers, and he had a gun on him, and we were out in those same woods and nothing happened. So there's one instance where nothing happened, and I pushed my anxiety level to the max, and we separated, and I don't own a firearm. And nothing happened. So, okay, there's one instance. but I'm not going to make it a regular thing. I'll get a handle on it, and it will be good. I just, again, like you said, that's something you don't hear from here. And I hope, at least this, I hope that if somebody listens to this, there's going to be people that listen to this that knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's going to be people that listen to your show. They're like, I know where that is. I know where that is. I know where that is. And hopefully one of them has had something where I can listen to a future show. And they're like, oh, well, I listened to that guy, Jordan, that came on. And he gave me the inspiration to come on and say this. That way I can hear it and know that I'm not totally freaking nuts.
100%. And I love when that works, when people pretty much encourage other people to come on and it ends up helping them. And it's a back and forth. But man, Jordan, thank you so much for coming on the show. We will definitely be in touch. Yeah. Thank you so much for reaching out, dude.
No problem, man.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Bigfoot Society, and also a special thanks to Jordan from Massachusetts, whose episode actually in real time took hours and hours in order to be recorded, but was well worth it in the end. To those that are listening to the show that might not want this to continue, hey, thanks for listening, and I'm sure you'll be messing up future interviews as well. If you enjoyed listening to the show, please make sure you're subscribed on the platform that you're listening to and share it with a friend. And if you've had a Bigfoot encounter yourself, please reach out to me through the email bigfootsociety@gmail.com. I'd love to talk to you. Also, if you have a minute, please rate the show 5-star positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to the show. Thanks again for being part of the Bigfoot Society. Until next time, keep your eyes open, trust your gut, and never stop asking what else might be out there, and see you in the woods.